RFD Radio Network's Jim Taylor connects rural routes for you. You can trust Jim every morning for your overnight markets. He gets up early to help keep farmers on top of their game. Here's a bit about his rural routes.
I have the opportunity to cover something different every day and provide listeners with up-to-date markets, news they need to do their job and be successful, from legislative issues to crop updates and weather, of course.
Be it routes or routes, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
It's where your home is built, your landscape is planted, and your children play. Land is all around us, so Illinois farmers have dedicated years to learning how to best care for it. Today, we're bridging modern knowledge with resources from Mother Nature to promote natural soil activity and choosing crops that enhance soil health. To learn more about conservation efforts, visit ilfarmersconserve.com. Preserving our water, protecting our land, providing our food.
This message brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau.
You're listening to RFD Town and Country Partners, connecting you with the food you eat, the Illinois farmers who grow it, and the food-related events, destinations, and lifestyles that make our state great.
Hey, good day to you. Welcome to Town and Country Partners here on the RFD Radio Network. Rita Frazier here in studio today, a nice studio guest who didn't have to come too far down the hall. Gracie Weinzierl is our new Consumer Engagement Manager here at Illinois Farm Bureau. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Really good. Now, this is not your first time on this program, so I know that DeLoss broke you in just awesomely when you were here just a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you've kind of hit the ground running. So just sort of remind us about your title, what that title means, and a little bit about what you've been up to.
Right. So I am the new Consumer Engagement Manager. So with that role, I am helping county farm bureaus at the local level facilitate consumer engagement activities and events. So more of how can we help you reach out to these consumers rather than me reaching out to them individually, because we do see value in farmers doing that outreach. And I think overall the underlying factor is, yes, we still need to be reaching out to consumers. That is important for, our right to farm. So I have just been becoming familiar with the organization, what my role is, meeting the hundreds of faces there are that I'll be working with. So still getting my feet wet, but excited to jump in head first pretty soon.
It is exciting, and you mentioned that you've been at the county level with those regional meetings. What are you hearing, the feedback from county managers about this area?
I am hearing that they are all for this. I would say they know that they have information available, but they're starving for more, especially in the areas we talk about GMOs and organic and biotechnology, especially with CRISPR. Just having those resources available at their fingertips, as well as antibiotics and hormones, age-old conversation there, but then also food labeling. So that seems to be another upcoming topic for us.
And I know that a lot of the county farm bureaus do various programs, and we'll talk about the grant program that's available. But what are you hearing as far as like common outreach programs like farmers markets? Are they doing those? And what kind of programs are they doing today?
Right. So there's a lot happening with farmers markets and presence at outdoor markets like that, fairs. There's also engagement through, if you've heard of Prep, Freeze, Cook, it's actually a business that they get together and, you can do so many meals and pop them in your freezer. And the idea is you have like a couple weeks worth of meals for your family and you had to get together. A lot of times it's like a party. So there's been activities related to that. But then they also have presence from, beef farmer and pork and representative from milk, things like that. So you can also talk about what is going into those meals. I'd say other things that are popular tend to be the farm share breakfasts and also farm tours. We're hearing from farmers that, they love to host farm tours and they love those one-on-one connections with consumers because it's tangible and they feel like they have talked to somebody.
Right. And that's where there can be real progress, when that's that face-to-face opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So consumer engagement grants have been around for a while, and I know that they've been successful, and that's what you're hearing as well. Tell us about that grant program.
Right. So the Consumer Engagement Grant, also called the Consumer Communications Grant in the past, just makes funding available to county organizations, County Farm Bureau organizations, to facilitate these events. So the idea being that, we'll give you up to $750 in a matching grant, and you host the event, and then you report back to us just how it went, ways that you can engage the consumer. So it's not like you host a breakfast and, they come, we talked to you. It's, how can you host those farm tours and bring consumers on the farm and actually face those tough questions? Or, there may not be tough questions. It may just be exposure, which is awesome.
Right. And you're finding, when we say that about consumers and we think, okay, so it's like between the farm and the city, but, we've kind of learned that that's not the case. These small towns, there's a lot of people that are 1-2 generations removed from the farm, and they need to be educated too.
Right. I would say just because you grew up next to a cornfield doesn't mean you know what's happening in that cornfield. I grew up on a farm, and there's a lot of things I didn't know until I started asking questions.
Right. Right. All right. So this consumer engagement program and these grants, they're not, huge, but they make a difference.
Absolutely.
So tell us about, working with the counties, what kind of things we can look forward to like this spring and summer, and then, how that program works.
Right. So what I'm hoping to do is get together with counties and help brainstorm new ideas, and also see what's happening out there now. What is working well, and how can we bring that to other areas of the state? My role will also be to identify areas where we might need different resources. So that could be a handout, that could be social media, that could be an advertisement, in order to help counties get the message out, not necessarily through an event. This isn't a one-and-done activity. This is something that needs to be continuously happening, and finding the best outlets to be able to do that will.
Yes. And then so, like, for example, last summer, I know one of the grant recipients was Jersey Greene County, Stephanie Knittel, the manager there, and Jersey County had one of the popular, like farm-to-table events at the county fair. Wonderful type event. And I know that other counties have done similar events.
Absolutely. I've been hearing a lot of that, and I've been hearing a lot of farmers markets that are coming up this summer. So.
Yeah. So the other thing that you get to do, you have a lot of roles here, but the Illinois Farm Families Program is something that you help, and there are other commodity groups represented. But tell us a little bit about your work there and, your responsibilities as you go forward.
Right. So part of my position is serving on the Illinois Farm Families Coalition representing Illinois Farm Bureau. So Illinois Farm Families was established in 2009.
Wow.
As a consumer outreach effort, which was collaborative across the Illinois commodity industry. So that was Illinois Farm Bureau, corn, soy, beef, pork, and then later dairy. So it's a unified voice coming from the perspective of farmers, talking to primarily Chicago area consumers, but still all consumers are part of our outreach.
So you guys recently, I can't believe it's been around 10 years when you tell me that. That's crazy. But you're looking, you've already met with those commodity groups, and you guys are, looking forward.
Absolutely. We are in our planning process now for the next fiscal year that will start this fall. I would say that, the organization, Illinois Farm Families as an organization, has definitely grown and evolved since it was first established. I remember early in my college years actually going through one of their volunteer trainings.
Oh.
And, the direction of the consumer engagement conversation has drastically changed since then. I think that we have become less defensive and more proactive. I think that's a huge thing, and especially with the direction that Illinois Farm Families continues to go.
Do you mind saying that again, because that's the quotable quote from our interview today?
Yeah, we've moved from being defensive to more proactive.
For sure. So it's working.
I think so.
Yeah. So just about a minute and a half left here. What did I miss, or what do you want to leave us with today?
Right. I would say the most important thing would be to just continue to share your story. It doesn't matter what you're sharing. You know, the simplest things like snapping a picture during planting while you're in the cab and posting it to social media can make the difference. What consumers are wanting is just a window into your world. You know, it's something different. It's something exciting. And it's a family thing, and they want to learn more about that.
How great is this job? Is this sort of your dream job? You know, you talked a little bit about what you've been working towards with your career path. Is this is where you wanted to land?
I think it was definitely the natural next step for me. Honestly, it's something that I thought I would be doing maybe 10, 15 years down the road when I was in college. I had the opportunity to get some different communications experience, and I think that this was just the natural next step for me. So.
And making a difference, if you're going to make a difference, this certainly is an opportunity to do that.
Absolutely.
So how do folks reach you if they have any questions?
Yeah, so you can just shoot me an email. It's gweinzerl@ilfb.org.
And, of course, through the Illinois Farm Bureau or at the county level, you'll be reaching out, as you mentioned, your regional meetings, and you have attended those, but you also work through the County Farm Bureau.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, you are going to be a monthly guest here, and we look forward to that, and we can follow sort of your progress, and we know that we'll be seeing you throughout the summer, probably at some of these events.
I hope so. Looking forward to it.
Gracie Weinzerl, Consumer Engagement Manager here at the Illinois Farm Bureau. Stay tuned. We'll talk more about food and related events coming up here this summer. This is Town and Country Partners on the RFD Radio Network. Stay with us.
Clean water matters to all of us. For years, farmers have been calling for clean water and clear rules because we know it's possible to have both. Now is the time to make your voice heard. The proposed clean water rule announced by the Environmental Protection Agency and the Army Corps would end years of uncertainty over where federal jurisdiction begins and ends. Support the new rule. Text WATERS to 52886. That's WATERS to 52886. And contact your local county farm bureau for more information.
As you prepare for planting season, remember your neighbors. Whether you're an applicator, grower, or beekeeper, use FieldWatch to register your farm and monitor for sensitive sites around you. FieldWatch is a free, easy-to-use online mapping tool. Consulting FieldWatch is now a requirement for the over-the-top use dicamba products. Communicating with your neighbors will help you protect your farm and the environment. Don't wait. Go online to fieldwatch.com. Growing agriculture. We grow best together.
Welcome to your Brant Report. Today we get to check. We are back here on Town and Country Partners, and we are going to talk a little bit more in the destination area, and we'll do that here in just a minute. But just as we were wrapping up our conversation, Gracie, and we kind of got off on a couple of different topics. But we want to mention that when we talk about food-related destinations, your dad being with the Illinois corn growers all those years, you and your sisters had quite the opportunity, to get to know corn and the Corn Association.
Yeah, so I know a lot about corn.
So your dad, Rod Weinzerl, has been executive director over at the Illinois Corn Office for, you tell me, 3 decades.
Yeah, longer than I've been around.
Yeah, the other thing that's interesting, so we connect this because it is all related to agriculture, and we always talk on this show about how small a world ag is. And would you have ever thought that you would land in the Illinois Farm Bureau and in this career as a child, as you and your sisters were growing up?
You know, it wasn't until like the second half of my junior year of high school that I even considered agriculture as a career opportunity.
Really?
Really.
And then you tell me both of your sisters chose ag-related fields.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my middle sister is a teacher at Putnam County High School. She's the ag teacher there. And the other sibling just started with the National Corn to Ethanol Research Center in Edwardsville.
Wow. Now, is that equally as surprising for both of them to be in agriculture, or did they kind of know that's where they wanted to end up?
I think that it was just a surprise, as much of a surprise to them. The other one had explored some other majors in college and finally settled on education. It's like, oh, ag education, there's a lot of opportunity here. It was just a natural fit for her. And then the younger sister was more interested in journalism, especially TV journalism, and then just found ag communications as a second major. Heard some of those arguments that are relative to the ag industry, so like GMOs, and just found that she could speak a lot of those subjects and was interested.
Well, the other thing that this tells us is that we talk about it, there's a lot of jobs available in agriculture today.
Yes.
Stay with us, more to come on Town and Country Partners.
When it comes to our members, Chris Magnuson connects rural routes for you. Chris leads Illinois Farm Bureau's efforts to provide valuable information to our members. He has spent 2 decades with IFB. Here's a bit about his rural roots.
I grew up on a farm with corn, soybeans, and Christmas trees. I've been in ag communication for 3 decades now. My greatest satisfaction has always remained the same, to serve our members.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
Farm, family, food. Those 3 words best describe Illinois Farm Bureau. Farm. For 100 years, Farm Bureau in Illinois has represented and served the men and women who make Illinois one of the top food-producing states. Family. At the heart of rural Illinois are traditional farm families who work together through Illinois Farm Bureau. And food. Farm Bureau families are proud to grow the healthy food they provide their families and yours. Farm, family, food. The heart of Farm Bureau in Illinois.
And we are back here on Town and Country Partners on a Wednesday, and we've talked a lot about farm, family, and destinations and events this week. We're going to talk next about the Galena History Museum's Ulysses S. Grant birthday celebration. Nancy Breed, we hope, is on the line with us, or will soon be on the line with us to talk more about this exciting event coming up.
Rita, hi, I'm on the line now.
Hi, Nancy. Tell us a little bit about what's coming up with this birthday celebration.
Well, our favorite guy, Ulysses S. Grant, will be 197 years old this year. So every year we get out the brass band and do a big celebration to honor him and the work that he did, the legacy that he left our country, the time that he was here in Galena, and his national importance, too, through his general position and the 8 years that he was in the White House as well. We've got a number of activities beginning this Friday evening with the Grant Home Lamplight Tour, and ending on Sunday, midday, with a historic Methodist church service. It's at the church where the Grants worshipped when they were in Galena. So lots of free activities, museum programming, reenactments, all through the 3 days.
How long have you been a part of the museum history and the celebration?
I have been here for almost 15 years, so I've enjoyed many of these events. They change every year. We try to do a little bit of tweaking and improving each time. Last year we added a new Saturday night event, President Grant's State Dinner. He was the first president to host a visiting head of state. So we looked at the menu that the Grants had during the White House years, and of course their tastes were a little different than ours, so we had our chef at Eagle Ridge Inn do some tweaking of it, but we say that the 5-course dinner is inspired by menus that the Grants used in the White House. That's a dinner with live period music Saturday night at the Eagle Ridge Inn and Resort Ballroom. So that's a fun event that we've added, and different programs and presenters are changed out each year to make it fresh and exciting.
So it sounds wonderful, and I'm sure you have a couple of just, fun facts about Grant and being a part of that museum for the last 15 years in this celebration. What are a few that maybe the general public is not aware of?
Well, one of the curious and interesting things is thinking about meals that Grant liked in his favorite. He would never want undercooked meat. And this goes back to his family upbringing. His father owned a rendering plant in Ohio where he was born and raised. And Ulysses hated the sight of blood, and he just grew to hate it, and undercooked meat was just never appetizing to him. But when you think about the carnage that this man witnessed during the Civil War and all the bloodshed that was around him, and at times he directed, it had to really hurt his spirit to see that and just be very, very unappealing to him, knowing his hatred for blood, animal or human or any kind. And a lot of history calling Grant, very aggressive and liking that kind of horror that he saw during the Civil War. Not true at all. He really wanted to end the battles as quickly as he could, and if that meant a little more bloodshed in a battle to end the whole war, that was his desire, was get this thing over with, stop the bloodshed, and heal the nation. There's so many things about this man that I find him very humble and patient and kind, and yet there are things that he had to do that were not so.
So less than a minute remains. Give us the date, location, and then where folks go for more details.
Sure. This Friday, April 12th, we begin our U.S. Grant birthday celebration in Galena, Illinois at 5 o'clock, and all day Saturday, April 13th, at our Gateway to History location. We've got a reenactment at our Galena and U.S. Grant Museum on Bench Street, just a block up from our historic Main Street. Is free programming all day, wonderful speakers talking about the events that happened in the Grant's life and other Civil War generals. Our state dinner on Saturday night, although that's booked at this time, we can't accept any new reservations. Sunday, the museum is also open, birthday cake and refreshments both days at the Grant Museum, and free admission for everyone. Come and enjoy the wonderful period program that we have. All of the details of who's speaking when and who's where is on our website at galenahistory.org.
galenahistory.org. Nancy, thank you for joining us, and best of luck for a wonderful celebration this weekend in Galena. Thank you for being a part of this Town and Country Partners program.
Thank you for joining us for RFD Town and Country Partners. Get out and enjoy Illinois.